My upbringing was just a normal, typical Kenyan upbringing that is same to very many people of my generation. Taking care of animals when you are not in school, looking after cows when you are not in school, during school holidays, doing a little bit of farming here and there. I didn't get university grades. I was told that I should repeat. And I actually agreed and I was given money to repeat. Then I bumped into some fellow in the Ministry of Education. He said you can go to India, you can go to Italy. I think there was another country he proposed, maybe Spain or France. He told me some of those countries, there is no fees. I said, what? Stupidly. Because I told my dad that there is no fees needed. There is not, because we couldn't afford.
Yeah.
There is no fees needed, there is nothing. So I went there like a dummy. And I suffered. Didn't tell you that I'm also a Christian, I'm a believer. So I used to be employed by an American company. And being the head of sales and marketing, you run up and down looking for business. And there was a big conflict which was not sitting very well with me. You are going out there looking for business, and it is expected of you that you'll be facilitating those corrupt deals, I can name it as it is. And I felt that it was not going well with me. And actually I resigned out of protest. I resigned to go nowhere. Then after 3 days, I remembered this was a very stupid thing I did. Because I already had a wife. And I have a child. Mm-hmm. My wife had no job. Now I have no job. Now it dawned on me that I was a stupid fellow. Very quickly decided to look for a business where I didn't need anything. Because I had no money, so I didn't need money to do it. And then number two, a business where possibly I am the capital. I had no information, I had no plan, I had no strategy, I had nothing. I had me and God. That was what I had to my advantage. I went through a challenging time. I even got auctioned. I was getting into a territory I didn't know. When you are like me, then you know the reason why people don't get into business. 6 months, I got the first LPO. Then after that, now doors kept opening. By the way, this is my 21st year in business. No amount of experience can be able to mentor you to levels of success. All businesses go through challenges. Mature businesses fail. Young businesses fail because the variables for success and therefore failure are just too many. I have told you I have been in this thing for more than 20 years.
Yes.
You have just started. I can save you 20 years of learning and making mistakes by just exposing myself to what I've gone through that you can avoid. My name is DM Tanki and I am the Chief Executive, Lan-x Africa Limited. And what we basically do, we support entrepreneurs, business people to be able to transition their businesses from nano to micro, from micro to small, from small to medium, and medium to corporates. In other words, we support you as a business person to be able to go to the next level because there is no fun in remaining small for a long time.
Hello everyone, welcome to Adventures in Business on Influencer TV Kenya. My name is Joan Mwaneki, and today we are super delighted to be joined by a person that is all about helping people and businesses grow their money, run better, and become smarter businesses. And by the way, he has done this for over 2 decades now. So let's get down into it because we need to have this conversation and just learn more about him. Hello, how are you?
Very well.
Karibu sana kwetu.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for honoring the invite.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite as well.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll give you this chance to introduce yourself to the audience, tell them what you do.
Well, my name is DM Tanki and I am the Chief Executive, Lan-x Africa Limited. And what we basically do, we support entrepreneurs, business people to be able to transition their businesses from nano to micro, from micro to small, from small to medium, and medium to corporates. In other words, we support you as a business person to be able to go to the next level because there is no fun in remaining small for a long time. So that's what we basically do.
All right.
Yeah.
Amazing. So before we started this, when we were just here having a conversation, he mentioned about having another business, which I'll also just tell him to talk about it. And then we are going to get deeper after the break that we'll have later on.
Well, a couple of years ago, I went to visit my mother, and we keep a few cows, which of course are at home, and I found my mother had a lot of milk, and the then company that was collecting the milk, they used to buy the milk at about 22, 25 shillings a liter, and they dropped it to 15, and it was take it or leave it. So I found my mother, who hasn't been to school, doesn't speak Swahili, doesn't speak English, completely devastated because she has nowhere to sell her milk. And here is a son who is going to school, very educated, with a master's degree, travel far and wide, but unable to solve a small village problem. And it devastated me that there is a problem in the village. Villagers have milk, they have nowhere to sell. I am educated, I cannot solve a village problem. And it forced me to think what to do. And that is what eventually led me to starting the business of milk. Yeah.
Amazing. So let's just pick it from where we were before. How did you grow up? Like, we just want to know about your background now.
Yeah, I grew up in the village. I grew up in the bush. So I of course grew up in some parts of Narok, like very many other Kenyans, how they grow, and taking care of animals when you are not in school, looking after cows when you are not in school, during school holidays, doing a little bit of farming here and there. After that, I went to high school, then finished high school, then went to university and such like. So my upbringing was just a normal, typical Kenyan upbringing that is same to very many people of my generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is good. So when you basically came to Nairobi for the university.
I actually didn't come to Nairobi for the university. And the reason was because I first of all, it was by chance I came to University of Nairobi, to Nairobi. But in the course of, when I did Form 4, I didn't get university grades.
Okay.
And I was very devastated by the fact that I couldn't get university grades. But coming from the village, poverty, what else was there? So I was told, and which I agreed, we had a conversation with my dad, that I should repeat. And I actually agreed, and I was given money to repeat. So I was looking for a place where to redo the Form 4. Then I bumped into some fellow in the Ministry of Education. And I told him what I was looking for, a school where I can redo my Form 4. And he told me, but why redo it? Why don't you travel out? Why don't you go to somewhere? I said, where? He said, you can go to India, you can go to Italy. I think there was another country proposed, maybe Spain or France. He says, you can go there, there's no problem. I said, but who will pay? He told me some of those countries, there is no fees. I said, what? So anyway, because he was from the Ministry of Education, he facilitated, and I ended up going to India for the degree, stupidly, because I told my dad that there is no fees needed. There is not, because we couldn't afford.
Yeah.
There is no fees needed. There is nothing. So I went there like a dummy, and I suffered. I suffered well there because we could not afford. But yeah, I completed and came back here, and then later joined Nazarene University here at home, and then after that I also went to the Netherlands under Dutch sponsorship to study in Maastricht. So that's how my education has been.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a truly amazing journey.
Yeah.
I must say. So what exactly sparked the idea of Lan-x? How was it born?
So I used to be employed by an American company called NCR. and NCR divested the unit I was managing. It was sold off because it was no longer strategic for NCR. And when it was sold off, of course, Kenyans and some other investors from some countries in Africa acquired this unit, and I was the head of sales and marketing.
Okay.
And being the head of sales and marketing, you run up and down looking for business, and there was a big conflict which was not sitting very well with me. I didn't tell you that I'm also a Christian, I'm a believer, and I used to pray. Actually, I was the leader of prayer in my church. And then you are going out there looking for business, and it is expected of you that you'll be facilitating, those corrupt deals, I can name it as it is. And I felt that it was not going well with me. And actually, I resigned out of protest. I resigned to go nowhere. I resigned so that if God was not caring of his own, I was ready to suffer. Then after 3 days, I remembered this was a very stupid thing I did, because I already had a wife, and I have a child. My wife had no job. Now I have no job. Now it dawned on me that I was a stupid fellow. Then I have no capital. Actually, I had a loan of 300,000, which I was still servicing. I didn't even know where the money will come from. So when I sat, I thought, how do I move ahead? And I very quickly decided to look for a business where I didn't need anything, because I had no money, so I didn't need money to do it. And then number two, a business where possibly I am the capital. Okay. So I registered. So Lan-x Africa had been registered before. I didn't even register it. I had registered it before in 2001. But it was in the briefcase. It was not doing anything. So when I thought about it, I said, let me become a consultant. Then I also didn't know what consultants do. So I must say that for me, unlike many people who will say they went into the business because they had a feasibility study, they had a background, they had prepared, they knew there are opportunities. Me, I went there like a foolish fellow. I had no information, I had no plan, I had no strategy, I had nothing. I had me and God. That was what I had to my advantage. So when I began the consultancy business, I went through a challenging time. I even got auctioned in the process, because it was, I was getting into a territory I didn't know. I got auctioned. But I survived. I survived that. And then after 6 months, I got the first LPO. After 6 months, I think it was 6 months, maybe more than 6 months, because we started on the 1st of March, and the first LPO came in October. And in between, I had gone through turmoil. And the first LPO was for 250,000.
Wow.
That was a miracle, and I was very excited. And then after that, now doors kept opening and doors kept happening. Things kept happening. And I think, as they say, the rest is history.
All right.
Yeah.
So you have mentioned about challenges, and I'm pretty sure that even now, so many businesses have challenges. So I want to assume that this one has challenges as well. So maybe you can just tell us the challenges that you used to go through, and they are still there, and then how you've worked through and how you just overcome them all.
One of the challenges that has remained throughout the ages is the challenge of getting business. The process of securing deals was complicated, has been complicated, still is complicated.
Okay.
And the reasons are very many. People are going through rough times. The world of consultancy is also tough. When people are going through rough times, then they cut. The first thing they cut is assignments that don't add much value to them. And one of it may be training or consultancy service and support. So that has always been there from the beginning. It is still there now. So we still have that. Challenge number 2 is the challenge of getting credible, good employees. And it is understandable because good employees come at a cost. So the balancing act between getting good people that you are able to sustain then because you have cash flow, and not and getting bad people that you pay low, and then you suffer because they are not able to do much. I think that is a challenge that has been there and continues to be there. And the challenge which also has been there and continues to be there is the changing tastes and preferences of customers. I think customers are becoming very witty. Of course, they were even then. They know what they want. They are very particular about what they want. They are still very particular even right now. And it's still a challenge that we are trying to navigate and try to establish meaningful ways of going through it. But I should say also that cash flow management is a perennial challenge to business. Cash flow management, the way money is coming and going, sometimes you wonder whether it is good decisions you're making or not. Even when you are an expert, I mean, you still get affected by the challenges of cash flow. The way money is coming and the way money is expected to go out is not as easy to balance between the two.
Okay.
And I think those ones have survived until now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the mistake you think that both big businesses and small businesses make?
First of all, the world of business is very dynamic and very challenging. And what I've seen in the few years or many years that I've been there, by the way, this is my 21st year in business. And what I've come to confirm, no amount of experience can be able to mentor you to levels of success. You cannot say because you are 50, so you have learned, so you can't fail. Mature businesses fail, young businesses fail. All businesses go through challenges because the variables for success and therefore failure are just too many. And what I've come to confirm is that business people must be on the edge every day. In fact, there is a book by the Intel CEO and chairman Andrew Grove, and the title of the book is Only the Paranoid Survive. And I think practicing paranoia, where every time you sit, you are asking yourself, something can go wrong. What can possibly go wrong? Maybe you might lose a customer that has been contributing to a lot of your revenue, or you might lose an employee who has been a pillar to the business, or a sickness might catch up with you, or something may happen along the way. I think that kind of paranoia will give you to be on the edge, and therefore to develop strategies and to develop measures that will be able to cushion you from excessive suffering. Because sometimes suffering is inevitable, but excessive suffering, you can cushion yourself from it.
So 21 years in business, nothing ever made you feel like you just want to quit? This is not it anymore.
Nothing ever made me to quit. Okay. I think I have not entertained the thought of quitting. Part of the reason is because I told you, number one, I didn't get into a business because I liked it.
Yeah.
But along the way, love developed. Along the way, excitement came in. Along the way, I got to discover that I think this is what I love doing. Along the way, I got to meet people that have interacted with me, and they felt very supported and very helped, and many, by the way. And I think that injected a lot of excitement, a lot of passion, to the level where right now, together with my team, we are coming up with bold measures of not just looking at Kenya, but looking at Africa. So we just came from revising our tagline to powering Africa's prosperity. because I have a small team, but a very interesting small team that is very vibrant, very passionate. They are very committed, and I think together we are nurturing something that will be very exciting going forward.
Okay, so what would you tell the business owners that feel like they do not need a consultancy team?
The good scripture says, in the multitude of counselors there is safety.
Okay.
There is nobody who doesn't need someone to hold their hand. Even the great, they call him the GOAT, Eliud Kipchoge, has a manager. This manager doesn't run. It is Eliud that runs.
True.
But the manager helps him to know what to avoid, what to eat and that kind of stuff, the match exercises that he needs to do. Tiger Woods is a great golfer, but he has a manager. If you talk about great sports people, athletes like Usain Bolt, even locally here, all of them have someone that travels the journey with them. Part of the reason why the failure rate of business is very high in Kenya and Africa in general is a line of thinking that business people assume they are all-knowing. The fact of the matter is that everybody needs to consult, everybody needs to bounce his ideas to somewhere, everybody needs an expert who can be able to handhold them and work them, and that is the role consultants basically play. So at Lan-x Africa, I'm very excited to report that we actually mentor many business people in their hundreds, and we are supporting them because currently we have a program that we have a couple of programs. There is one we call the C-Suite Entrepreneur, and the C-Suite Entrepreneur is where we are nurturing talent in business for individuals who wants to outgrow being SMEs, because I remember the CEO of Kenya Airways once telling me that it is very risky to be small. It is too risky to remain small.
Sure.
When small winds comes, they push you down, and we want to transition as many businesses from SME to corporate. We want them to grow, so we are supporting them through that C-Suite Entrepreneur. We have a group we call the Business and Money Group. That stems from conversations that we have with business people. And again, what are we doing? We are supporting them, we are nurturing them, we are walking the journey of business with them, because this country and Africa, we need to overcome the challenge of poverty and misery. There are too much. Currently, we talk about unemployment rate among the youth of more than 5 million. And do you know the reason? The reason is not because they didn't get jobs with government. Government should never be the leading employer. The reason is because our businesses have not grown to a level where we can employ people in hundreds. So while we blame the government, the truth is our businesses have not grown substantively to employ all these people. We need our businesses to grow. And Lan-x Africa is very committed, very charged, and now we have programs that we have developed. For example, research. Research is one of those areas that we are focusing on, because we believe people must make decisions that are data-driven, decisions that are informed, decisions that there is empirical backing, so that the decision you make is a solid decision. And we have that research that is focused on doing that. We are also focusing on marketing, because we know that if you are a business and you are not doing much marketing, then you suffer in the process. So we have put in place measures to guarantee support to entrepreneurs, because that is what we want and we feel that this country needs.
Amazing. We are really having fun in doing this conversation all together. I actually wish that we couldn't take this break, but we have to do it. So just allow us to take a short break. We are coming back soon. Thank you. Welcome to Sapphire Beauty Salon and Spa, a space where every detail speaks luxury and intention. Let me show you around.
had a dream, I had a vision. I had to work for this and you didn't. I had to bleed, still got the stitches. I learned to swim from all your burned bridges. Say you're the poet and the prophet, but you never saw me coming. Always starving for attention, and I got the kind you wanted, and it's killing you now. You wanna spin it around, but the truth's still the truth. Nothing you can do.
Every inch of this project was carefully curated by the Prime House Interiors team to elevate not just the space, but the experience. Thank you so much for the continued support. We are back and let's get it done. Okay. Umeenjoy break yako?
Yes, I have. Thank you.
All right, amazing. So now hapa nataka tuongelele the milk business. Sijui nataka tuanze wapi, but I'll start by asking, when was this time? Ilikuwa mwaka gani wakati all that ilifanyika?
Mwanzo nilifikiri unataka tuongee lugha ya Kiswahili.
No, any.
Lakini kwa hivyo ni saa tuongee Kizungu.
Yes,
it was in 2015 when I went home and found my mother in problems. That was in 2015. But unlike the case of Lan-x Africa, I took a different route.
Okay.
This one, I did a study. I actually commissioned Lan-x Africa to do a research on milk, to find out the challenges with the milk business, the issues around milk. There was a general belief that whoever begins milk business will eventually be bought off. So we wanted to understand, how does it work, what exactly happens. So we commissioned a study, and after commissioning a study, we discovered it was doable. It was challenging because of where we wanted to operate from. It needed a lot of money. So it is a journey that hasn't been easy because of the amount of money that is involved. But I am glad to report that we've actually completed building a factory.
Wow.
So we have a full factory right now. We have 4 chilling plants located in different places that are used to mobilize milk from farmers. We don't, however, have the machinery, but it is the next step. So it's not been a very easy walk, but we are very excited that the problem we saw with my mother, and therefore the villagers around there, we have been able to solve it, and I can't take the credit. I think there has been many other actors. The government distributed chillers to very many places. I think in Narok we got about 15 chillers dispersed by the government to a number of other places. As now my company, we have 4 more chillers, and I think there are a couple of other people that have also gotten in. And the next phase of what we are now doing is to buy machinery because the buildings are ready, and then after that we will be able to operationalize a milk processing plant.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
So are there some challenges that you are going through right now?
In relation to that, a lot. Actually, when you are like me, then you know the reason why people don't get into business. Because, for example, in 2022, just while we were doing very well, the drought came. Most Kenyans may not remember. It was said it was the toughest in 40 years. But I want to let Kenyans know that even before, I think around 2016, there was another one which also the government said it was the toughest in 40 years. So I think the slogan 40 years is a very common slogan. But the milk dropped significantly. But in 2023, the rains came and there was a lot of milk. And until now, there is still a lot of milk. But you never know, the next season again, there may be drought and then there's no milk. So the challenge of consistent availability of milk is one of the problems. But the remedy to that is we've engaged some experts to help farmers know how to do animal management in a way that the consistency of milk can be there, maybe at a lesser volume, but at least you can't go completely dry. Then number 2 is finance. Is a huge challenge. We are talking about 200 million kind of money, so it's not a small amount. What we have already put in place is almost 70. So the amount of capital outlay is huge, and you are putting in 70 million and it is not producing, it is not returning. So it is quite an experience, but I think there is great joy. I still remember some words by Chris Kirubi that he explains, some investments can even last up to 20 years before you can really benefit. And one of his investment, actually by the time Kenyans were getting very excited about it, seeing the returns, it had lasted 20 years. So some things take time, but as human beings, we don't have the patience, we don't have the holding capacity, we don't have the waiting capacity. United Airlines in the US, when it began, the 4 partners, it reached a level where they even gave up and decided that it was no longer making sense. But the guy that remained, in another 30 years, he had 230 planes. The guy that remained, okay? So there is a season that is very tough for business, but once you break through the ceiling, it becomes easier. It doesn't mean there are no more problems. It only means you get into another range of challenges and problems. But the basic problems, you overcome them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unajua out there, okay, sisi the young people, ukisikia mtu ni farmer, uko like, farmer. So you see there is something that people, the younger people, think about being a farmer, haina pesa, this and that. There are definitely so many things people think. What can you tell them? Because now this is farming.
Yes, I have a son who is 26 now, and his thinking is different from what you are describing. Because he has seen. At 22, he had bought himself a Subaru.
Oh, wow.
Not from those cams, but from milk.
Wow.
When Corona began, we were all closed in the house. But me, I had the privilege of getting out because milk is an essential.
Yes.
Milk was categorized as an essential commodity. So I was given the letter to be moving up and about. So my son wanted that letter because all of us were stranded in the house. I got him the letter. Do you know what he believes? He believes that Nairobi is a scam.
Wow.
He believes that Nairobi, everybody thinks there is success, but it is a mirage. You stay in hope that you will break through tomorrow, but that breaking through tomorrow may take many years.
Which is true.
That is what he believes. And as we talk, our small farm in the village, he does more farming than me. He has farmed watermelons, he has farmed carrots. Every time there is something in the farm that he has done. Because he has tested. Part of the problem we have is not really the young people, it is the parents. And the unavailability of resources. Because if your parents have no land, then you cannot have the experience of my son.
Yeah, true.
So you must find another way of surviving. But if your parent has land and can also be in the city, your chances of success goes up because you can succeed in the city, and that is what the Bible says. You'll be blessed in the city and you'll be blessed in the country. So they are blessings both ways. You can make it in Nairobi or in the city. You can also make it in the village. It is easier making it in the village.
In the village than in the city.
The same way, people don't know, it is easier making it in Kenya than in America.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenyans run to America, but you can succeed faster in Kenya than you can succeed in America.
Maybe that needs to be a lengthy discussion.
To be dissected more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people will be asking why. Like, why did he say that?
Yeah, I'm saying it with authority because the Daring Abroad program by Alex Chamwada, he's on record. Because he has moved all over the place. 75% of Kenyans in the US are living a very bad life. And actually, some of them have come home. Personally, I've been to the US.
Yes, you have.
And I was very surprised. You move around and nobody can even afford to buy you or something. Because a majority of them are broke. I remember one day we were moving around in Washington with some fellows until I decided to buy them lunch. And then they kept interpreting the lunch I bought on the basis of how many working hours. I mean, surely we don't do that in Kenya.
Yes,
I buy you tea and then you are saying, hii chai.
Mshahara yako ya wiki moja.
Succeeding in Kenya, even with the very many challenges we have, is faster than succeeding in the US. Only 25% of the Kenyans are making it big time in the US. Majority are living badly.
So what advice would you give to someone who is looking out to start a farming business, number one, and also number two, advice that you'd give to people in the business who have not yet considered doing consultancy?
So number one, for anybody who has land, you can never go wrong with farm production. You can never. I know seasons, and of course most of our family is rain-fed or rain-dependent.
Sure.
But generally speaking, farming, everybody knows, including Adesina, the president of the World Bank, of the Africa Development Bank, is on record, and several other leading African people are on record saying that the future, the next multi-millionaires will be made in the farms or by the farms. So the opportunity is there. It is just good to understand, and luckily for Kenya, there are many interventions that are coming up, including by government. There are many people who are supporting many initiatives coming up, including initiatives to off-take the farm produce and even export them to other countries. So those opportunities are there, value addition, and part of at Lan-x Africa, that is what we also want to do. We'll be focusing quite a bit on agriculture and supporting agro-processing and supporting value addition in a big way, because we know that is the future of Africa. Now, to the business person who is running his business and doesn't quite appreciate the value of consultancy, let me tell you, Joanne, I have told you I have been in this thing for more than 20 years.
Yes.
You've just started.
Yeah.
I can save you 20 years of learning and making mistakes by just exposing myself to what I've gone through that you can avoid. And things that have worked. Well, I understand times have changed. I understand the dynamics keeps changing here and there. Sometimes the wisdom of 20 years ago may not be valid today. That I understand. But there are certain immutable, certain aspects of wisdom that don't change. For example, when you talk about the value of cash flow management, the value of financial management, whether you are in 1900 or you are in 1950 or 2010 or 2040, that stands. In terms of the flexibility of technology and what worked yesterday and how it might not work tomorrow. Today we are using cameras. Tomorrow, who knows, we might not need cameras.
Yeah.
So that is something that might change, but there are things that can't. So I advise business people, if you want to succeed, look for someone who you can be discussing with, you can be bouncing your ideas to, you can be checking on. That way, you cushion yourself from failure. Don't be an expert. No man is an island. No man is a monopoly of knowledge. Even if it works today, there is no guarantee it will work tomorrow. Just if you form a habit of bouncing your ideas to somebody, of course carefully, so that you don't just mess up yourself by going all over the place and talking everything. Just carefully, I think success will be a lot faster and will be a lot sooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk kidogo about probably the advantages of financial literacy?
Yes. Life is about money.
Yeah.
Mswahili hata akasema pesa ni sabuni ya roho.
Kweli.
Lazima kuna vile aliona na akakubali baada ya mtazamo wa miaka kwamba pesa ni sabuni ya roho. So if this thing is as important, and in fact, do you know something, John? Mm-hmm. The good Bible says that money is a defense as wisdom is a defense. When you have money, I know we to those of us who are readers of the Bible, we always know that money answers everything.
Sure.
That is one. Money is a defense. When you have money, it protects you. Mm-hmm. When you have money, it cushions you from a lot of troubles. When you have money, even if somebody threatens you, it protects you very quickly. Yeah. That is why people with money can't even go to court. They cannot even be arrested by police, hardly, because they have money. Money is a protector. It is a defense. Now, so if this money is a defense, we had better discover, find, establish ways of knowing how to manage it. And that is where financial literacy comes in. Yeah. The understanding of the movement of money, the understanding of how money is generated or created, the understanding of how money can be built, the understanding of how money can be nurtured to grow, the understanding of how money can be used so that it is a blessing. Okay. Let me tell you, the reason why we are poor is not because there are no resources. Mm-hmm. No. Another friend of mine says, he likes saying, it is because of the absence of resourceful minds. Mm-hmm. It is not the absence of resources, it is the absence of resourceful minds. Now, this resourceful minds has got something to do with how do you nurture what you currently have. And a good example is my company, Lan-x Africa. Yeah. Lan-x Africa has a massive potential to even employ 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. Provided we do the right thing. Provided we are able to nurture it and build it up. How did Pricewaterhouse and the Deloittes of this world build themselves? To the extent that now they are in all over the world. Yeah. Why wouldn't Lan-x Africa be all over the world? It has got something to do with vision. It has got something to do with the way you nurture the little you have. Mm-hmm. And that requires a lot of financial literacy. So that you know that the next money you make, you don't have to run to buy a plot in some funny place. Sure. You know, Kenyans, the first thing they do when they make some little money,
a plot.
Ni kwenda kununua a plot somewhere or some farm somewhere. Yeah. Some of the world richest people don't rush like that. Mm-hmm. If you have a company of whatever nature, focus on building the company. Okay. The company will build you. Nice. Focus on nurturing the company to become better, to become bigger. As the money becomes bigger, you can afford to live wherever you want to live. Mm-hmm. You can afford to generate whatever cash flow and drive whatever you want to drive, because the company has grown and the company is big. Mm-hmm. But if you don't understand finance and you have no financial literacy, the next 1 million you find, do you know what you will do? You rush to the village to buy some 10 acres or 5 acres, or you run to some corner to buy some a quarter acre. Mm-hmm. And then now you don't have money to build, and the business doesn't have money to continue growing. So your joy is that you have a plot, but the bitterness is that the business doesn't grow as before, because you have removed capital from it. Yeah. So we need financial it is so urgent, it is so needed, it is so necessary that my own personal prayer is that we all find ways of mastering financial literacy. It will really sort out so many things. And to migrate from the thinking that you need to rush to real estate with every little money that you make from your business. Yeah. Bill Gates has a lot of money, but he doesn't go to real estate.
Yes.
He hasn't gone to real estate. Back at home here, Vimal Shah and others, they have not migrated and they have billions of money. They have not gone. It's only the black race that think that every million you get, you must rush to buying land. Build companies. Mm-hmm. The company will build you, will sort you. There's nothing wrong, by the way, with real estate. Yeah. If that is your line of business, concentrate there. If your line of business is TV, influencer TV, build influencer TV until it becomes like the Al Jazeera of this world.
Amen.
Why not? Kwani iko nini wao walipitia wapi?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I hope a lot of people get to see this because it's very important for everyone. And Sasa, for now, I'll just ask you to tell people where to get you in case they either come looking for you, mambo ya biashara, ama mambo ya farming.
Thank you so much. It's been a great privilege for me to be here. Very excited indeed. And thanks, John, for the opportunity. I just want to tell business people that we are here to support you. Lan-x Africa is at Absa Towers, Loiter Street on the 15th floor. Just in case you want to find us, you will get the person who is running our research, Ibrahim Bala. I will be able to help you. The person who is helping with the marketing and can do wonders on your company or your business, a lady by the name Lona. We run training programs. There is another lady who runs those programs called Mary as well. We're here to support you because we believe in Africa. We believe in you. We believe in your business. You just need to be supported here and there. And that business of yours may be the next big thing that will actually change this country and employ the many of our children, the many of our youth that today don't have jobs and they are properly schooled, they have earned degrees, but they are sitting at home, they don't have anything to do. So I want to encourage you to do that. For some of you who have land, parcels of land, wherever it is, in the different parts of this country, I encourage you, don't let your land remain idle. The Bible promises us blessings in the city and blessings in the country. That land you have can be able to generate a lot of wealth, and sometimes, by the way, more wealth than the city. Again, you can talk to us. It's part of our Powering Africa initiative, and it is part of our mission to ensure that this continent of ours generate enough wealth so that we don't remain the dark continent as some people like calling us, or a third world as some people have popularized. We have what it takes, and part of what it takes is that land of yours that you have, that parcel of land that you have. So talk to us. I believe Joanne will be able to share our contacts. If you talk to us, we will be able to support you to actualize your dreams. Thank you so much.
Wow, amazing. So tunamalizia hii story yetu. But before that, there is something we always do. Those are the quick fire questions. Ni kidogo sana.
Okay.
Za kawaida. So are you ready?
Let me drink this. I'm fearing what you might ask.
No. I'm a good person. All right, one book every entrepreneur should read.
There is a book called The E-Myth, which I recommend to everybody doing business.
What's one business rule that you live by?
What business rule that I live by? I think over time I have come to discover the value of cash flow. Actually, the importance of cash flow and the need to manage it in a way that will help me to go to the next level.
Okay.
Yeah.
One word to describe African entrepreneurs.
One word to describe African entrepreneurs. My goodness, what will I say about African entrepreneurs? I think it might not be one word, but we like being all over the place.
Okay.
So maybe I can qualify. You want to be in this business, in that other business, in that business, which becomes also a problem to manage.
Okay. The biggest money mistake that people make.
Not reinvesting the money they have earned into the same business so that it grows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Tea or coffee, I'll go with cardamom tea.
Okay. Are you a morning person or are you a night owl?
I'm an evening person.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, there is one question that we keep asking all our guests. What's one thing that you cannot stop buying? Even at gunpoint, you'll still buy that.
Nah, I don't have anything that I can't. There are things I cannot even buy even without gunpoint. So that one is not applicable to me.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much. What an amazing journey. A journey full of inspiration and a journey full of faith, by the way. I hope you've had everything about it. Just a little step of faith worked everything out. Make sure to watch this episode. And by the way, when you come across it, send it to your family, send it to your friends. Do not be selfish. Usijione peke yako alafu unapanga kuomoka peke yako. Saidia wenzako. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Goes by the name Influenza TV Kenya. The name that we use in all of our social media platforms, that is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. And finally, this beautiful episode has been sponsored by Prime House Interiors Limited, a company that does interior and exterior design. And you can reach them out. Their website is primehouseinteriors.co.ke, and they are also in all social media platforms. See you next time with so much love. Goodbye.